On Tuesday, the secret police have raided the homes of opposition politicians, allegedly in connection with the mismanagement of the Justice Fund. Officers are searching the locations in various parts of the country, including the home of former Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro. According to the spokesman for the National Prosecutor's Office, Przemysław Nowak, on the basis of the material uncovered by investigators, charges have been brought against 5 people, including unlawful payment of more than 66 million Polish zlotys to an entity that did not meet either formal or substantive requirements. 3 people are under provisional arrest. Late on Tuesday, Ziobro held a press conference outside his home in a Warsaw suburb after returning from hospital abroad. The former minister stressed that all these actions are illegal and are the implementation of the political order of Prime Minister Donald Tusk and Minister of Justice Mr. Bodnar. You all know that I recently had a very serious operation. It was documented in a public photo, so you don't have to be a genius or have special operational powers from the Internal Security Agency to find out where I am. Contact me and get into the building in a civilized way. Despite the fact that he was recovering from a complicated operation and undergoing oncological treatment, Zbigniew Ziobro took a break from his therapy and visited his home, which had been searched by the Internal Security Agency. It was categorically established that he was abroad. Contacting him to inform that a search was taking place was obviously pointless. This was the opinion of the prosecution. What is happening is firstly completely illegal. Professor Piotrowski, constitutionalist, talks about offending the constitutional principle of dignity, not only of every citizen, but also of the authorities. How does the current government explain this? The number of people who were harmed. Let me mention Mr. Kwaśniak, probably the most outrageous case, because of Mr. Ziobro deprived him of the right to complain. Recent political history knows cases of searches, detentions, and even imprisonment of politicians. However, the standards of treatment of people by states, as well as the approach of politicians themselves towards law enforcement agency, differ dramatically. One should remember that when Roman Giertych was arrested, he fainted. He was taken to hospital and then fled abroad. This was a glaring difference to what Zbigniew Ziobro did, because Ziobro returned from abroad, and he returned despite being seriously ill. The case of Mr. Gawłowski is similar. The people who searched his house waited 5 hours for him to appear and take part in the search. In this case, the search was carried out in Ziobro's absence, and the surveillance cameras were recovered. In spite of his very serious illness, he had the courage as a man to get to the scene of these brutal activities as quickly as possible. And I would like to remind you that one of the politicians, member of the current Sejm, fainted when he saw the prosecutor. This gives you an idea of what a real man is. There is an unwritten rule in the prosecutor's office that no activities are carried out during the holiday season unless they are serious crimes. And then there is a question of pure ethics. If you do not respect the person, you go for an intervention. If you ignore the symptoms of a serious illness, if you trample on peace of their home, if you do not respect the fact that there are children there, you are not only violating the law, but also certain canons and moral principles, rules of conduct in a democratic society. Both Zbigniew Ziobro and Jarosław Kaczyński do not accept such actions. They both believe that politicians of the current government should be brought to justice. It's a spectacle of banditry and lawlessness, for which certain people will one day be held responsible. Poland has dismissed a top general from his position as commander of European military body, the defense ministry said, after the country's counterintelligence service launched an investigation into his security clearance. Lieutenant General Jarosław Gromadziński had been serving as commander of Eurocorps, a joint military group of some EU and NATO states, since June 2023 after a career that had seen him serve in Iraq and command Poland's 18th Mechanized Division. Statement of Poland's Defense Ministry reads: the Military Counterintelligence Service initiated inspection proceedings regarding the personal security clearance of Lieutenant General Jarosław Gromadziński in connection with obtaining new information about the officer. Therefore, a decision was made to dismiss Lieutenant General Gromadziński from his position as Eurocos commander and his immediate return to the country. It did not give details of the investigation. During Easter week, farmers have largely suspended their protest against the influx of Ukrainian food and the European Green Deal. However, there are still blockades on the borders with Ukraine and smaller protests throughout the country. Meanwhile, Polish farmers have announced that they are changing the form of their protests. Demonstrations will move from the streets to the local offices of members of parliament. The next wave of demonstrations is planned for April 4th in front of the offices of members of parliament and senators across the country. For now, the farmers are inviting MPs and senators to dialogue. According to a farmer's statement, this must be the first step. MPs who do not respond to the farmers' call will find so-called surprises in front of their offices. In addition, on April 16, the farmers will come to them again, and the form of the protest itself will be, quote-unquote, intensified. Next week, the farmers will meet in Warsaw to start collecting 100,000 signatures for a social project to dismiss the government. Negotiations between Poland and Ukraine on agriculture imports will begin on Thursday, 28th. According to the Polska Agencja Prasowa, the position of the two governments are getting closer. Krzysztof Paszyk, the leader of the parliamentary group of the agrarian Polish Peasant Party, part of the ruling coalition, said, "We are close to solving these problems together in dialogue. One of the topics will be the grain issue. This problem can be solved. I think that today," he continued, "and tomorrow, it will be possible to make what is sometimes called a transit, really a transit. I'm optimistic about the results." Polish farmers say that much of the Ukrainian grain that is supposed to transit Poland ends up on the domestic market. According to Kyiv, the protests, which have included border blockades and the spilling of Ukrainian grain across rail tracks, are harming its war effort and economy. Ukraine says only a small proportion of the grain it exports passes through Poland. Recently, the EU debate took an unexpected turn when France backed the position of Eastern European countries against Germany, which wants to open EU borders to Ukrainian food exports to help Kyiv finance its war effort. Poland has decided to double its commitment to the Czech-led initiative to purchase artillery shells for Ukraine. Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski said it in Riga without providing a specific figure. Czech President Petr Pavel said in February that Prague had identified 500,000 155mm shells and 300,000 122mm shells outside of Europe that could be both and sent to Ukraine after the necessary funds were allocated to the initiative. Czechia's Foreign Minister Jan Lipavsky said on March 25th that the initiative may collect as many as 1.5 million rounds. Speaking at a press conference in Latvia's capital, alongside his Latvian counterpart, Krišjānis Kariņš, Sikorski praised relations between Riga and Warsaw as exemplary, noting the two countries are both leaders in helping Ukraine to resist Russian aggression. Commenting on Moscow's recent uptick in missile and drone attacks against Ukraine, Sikorski said, "It seems to me that some media in the West are not shocked enough by this unprecedented wave of air terrorism against Ukraine." Poland's top diplomat stressed that the US assistance bill for Ukraine, currently struck in Congress, is urgently, even desperately needed. If everyone did what Poland and Latvia are doing, Ukraine would be in much better situation, Sikorski said. Poland has been one of Ukraine's staunchest supporters since the outbreak of the full-scale war, donating some $3.2 billion in military aid and hosting around a million Ukrainian refugees. And now another twist in the story of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. It turns out that police were able to stop traffic just seconds before a container ship crashed into the structure. It was the middle of night when a dispatcher warning crackled over the radio. A massive cargo ship has lost its steering capabilities and was heading towards the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Within about 90 seconds, police officers responded that they had managed to stop vehicle traffic over the Baltimore Bridge in both directions. One said he was about to drive onto the bridge to alert a construction crew.
I need one of you guys on the south side, one of you guys on the north side, hold all traffic on the Key Bridge. There's a ship approaching that just lost their steering. So until you get that under control, we got to stop all traffic.
FMR, I'm en route to the south side.
Dispatch direction.
I'm holding traffic now. I was dragging, but we stopped prior to the bridge, so I'll have all outer loop traffic stopped.
10-4, is there a crew working on the bridge right now?
291, but
Good.
want me to stop traffic on this site right now.
Yeah, if we can stop traffic, just make sure no one's on the bridge right now. I'm not sure where. There's a crew up there. You might want to notify whoever the foreman is, see if we can get them off the bridge temporarily.
10-4, once the other unit gets here, I'll ride up on the bridge. I have all interloop traffic stopped at this time. Once you get here, I'll go grab the workers on the Key Bridge and then stop the outer loop.
C-13 dispatch, the whole bridge just fell down. Start is whoever, everybody. The whole bridge just collapsed.
10-4, dispatch is direct.
That's correct. This time.
Do we know if all traffic was stopped?
I can't get to the other side, sir. The bridge is down. We're going to have to get somebody on the other side, the Anne Arundel County MSP, to get up here and stop traffic coming northbound on the T Bridge.
C-13, I'm holding all traffic northbound.
But it was too late. Powerless and laden with huge containers, the vessel smashed into a support pillar. The whole bridge just fell down, a frantic officer said. Start, whoever, everybody, the whole bridge just collapsed. When the container ship Dali slammed into the pillar around 1:30 a.m. Tuesday, it caused a long span of the bridge, a major link in the region's transport networks, to crumple into the Patapsco River. The loss of the bridge is expected to snarl commuter traffic and disrupt a vital shipping port. At least 8 people went into the water. 2 were rescued, but the other 6, part of a construction crew that had been filling potholes on the bridge, were missing and presumed dead. A search for their bodies was underway Wednesday morning, according to Maryland State Police.